We designed this. Pretty cool, huh? Me and Lucas designed it. Because it's my podcast where I kind of like offer therapy sessions. So we're doing it for our sibling session. We do our late night sibling sessions. We have my brother Lucas. So yay! So Lucas is. Tell us your age, Lucas.
I think I'm 37.
He thinks he's 37. Yeah. Yay!
Be 38, man.
Oh man,
Yep.
That sounds old. That means I'm old. So Lucas and I, we have a 5-year age difference. So when I had Abby on here, on the last one that we did, the first one, we talked about our 13-year difference. So me and Lucas are a bit closer, and we're close. We have lots of stories together. So the episode we just filmed, the burial, which was episode 4. Lucas has not seen it yet, but he lived it, so he can commentate on it. So that's right after. I mean, the name speaks for itself. So that's right after. Your dad died and all that happened.
I figured, yeah.
You what?
I figured.
Yeah. And so we talked about, me and my people that watch this, I talked about how it really affected you. Like, I know it was, like, I was talking about, and Abby even remembered this, but she thought it was Cody because she was 2, so her memory's a little scrambled, but how, like, you were, like, unresponsive. Like, everybody else was kind of responding and whether they were crying or whatever was happening, but Lucas was unresponsive, face into the couch, not talking to anybody. So right away zoned in on that, and it did affect him the most because he was 12, right, at that time.
After that happened, which there's a lot that leads up to that, but yeah, that situation, that tragedy, after it happened, I was basically mute.
Like shock.
Quite a while, yeah.
I talk about how your dad had been taking a shower and you were actually almost went outside because you were like, you heard mom, or can you fill in those gaps?
So it was in summer, it was in July, and I was old enough I was, 11, something like that? 12.
It was July, so you had just turned 12.
Just turned 12, and so I'd be going out to a lake that I would go out to with my buddy and his dad, and I liked spending time with them because even though my buddy's dad had a drinking problem and stuff like that, at least I could go and fish and, get out of the ghetto and
have some normalcy.
Yeah, have some normalcy. Things like that. Just do normal, pre-teen boy stuff, My mom and my dad were planning like a family trip. I think it was something like Disney World or something like that.
It's always Disney World, isn't it?
Yeah, always Disney World, but then a kid ends up being born, and then it's like,
we'll tell that story.
That dream just went down the toilet.
That'll be in Things My Mom Says.
Was like a broken record, so he claimed that he was sober, he claimed that he wasn't using drugs and things like that, and my mom and dad had actually been split up for a period of time before my mom actually got the house.
Right, we discussed
on
that.
The south side, yeah. So, but he wiggled his way back in by making empty promises and stuff like that, and he backslid.
You haven't seen it yet, but in episode 4, I do talk about the last promise he makes right before this happens to Uncle Billy. Do you remember that one? How he was going to do his testimony at his church.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
And he was supposed to go like 6 months or something, and he had gone 4 months, and then.
Yeah, he was supposed to like come in front of like the congregation and basically
Billy was super
admit
proud.
Because not everything that he's done, in his life, and admit his wrongdoings and things like that, but then also like commit his life to God and Jesus and stuff like that. But he had just, got paid on a Friday, very normal stuff that I was used to. Me personally, I didn't think that my dad was ever going to change. I didn't believe in it because I saw it so many times, like where he said that he would do this, do that, and then we'd all get either, drugged to a bar to go find him or drugged to a church when he wanted to, act like he was doing better. So I was always getting pulled to the dark side and then the light side, and then, all of us kids were stuck in limbo, basically, is like how I looked at that situation. So he did the same exact thing, took a paycheck, spent it all, wasn't there the whole weekend.
Was it the whole week? Because I think I might have, in the burial, when I'm talking about the days, I thought it was a Saturday. I could probably look it up easily, but it must have been a Sunday.
It was.
Because if he was gone, I thought he had just gone that Friday and came back that Saturday morning, but it makes more sense because he would be gone the whole weekend. So it was probably Sunday, not Saturday, that the 22nd was on, which is the day.
I'm not sure. I don't really remember.
I stayed the night at Heather, so it was either Friday.
It could have been a Saturday because of him like backsliding after not doing it for 4 months. Like he wasn't gone for as long as he normally was.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe that.
So
we'll check back on that.
Yeah, we'll do some like fact checking on that.
I can look it up and
look
see.
up dates and whatnot. But
July 22nd, 2020. If somebody wants to look it up for us.
And
absolutely
you are analyzing the field around you and everything that's moving around you, and you're like, this isn't right, you know. Even though I felt that at a very young age, I just didn't feel like I had a voice up until like maybe that moment. For some odd reason,
we talk about the weirdness of the house, but I didn't talk about this. This is weird.
For some odd reason, when I would come downstairs, it would lead right into the bathroom, which had like 2 other different like openings or like entrances like to it. So like one went to like my mom's room, like one went to the kitchen. There's 3
actually, because one went into the kitchen.
That's what I mean. Like when I'm walking down, there's like 2 other like you know, which door are you gonna pick? You know.
It was like a fun house. I don't know.
Yeah, it really was.
Oh, but Elijah is going to make a surprise appearance on our podcast. He said, "What, my son?"
You're not a dog.
No, he's my son. You want to see my? Okay, you're right. I'm not going to put my child on the internet.
What up, dog?
Exactly.
But
just act like we're not here. We're talking.
But yeah, the bathroom was weird. It had 3 different like, you know, doors that went to it.
Pizza.
But I walked through it and I went through the kitchen after I go through the bathroom, and then right to the right was the living room, and I saw my dad like laying there on the couch. So then he tried to go into the room with Mom, and that's where they had an argument. And
I thought that was before the shower. Because Mom said she heard him get in the shower and she laid back down.
Maybe.
I'm not sure. Mom would actually have to clear that up.
Well, there's 2 showers that happened that morning. It was my dad and me.
Oh, okay.
So
I didn't mention that.
Which explains a lot of things and like why it was the way it was, like why his like wallet was out, why his shoes were off.
We talked about that.
All that kind of stuff. But regardless, like however it happened, he would have been the one that took a shower first. I don't know when the argument took place. Was before the shower or after the shower? It's all kind of fuzzy right there. Kind of like in his like guilty kind of like layingness that he would do. It was very common for him after he would like leave for a whole weekend, pawn all of our shit,
get yelled at by my mom,
spend his whole paycheck on drug money, and then get yelled.
Have nothing left.
Yeah, have nothing left, and he would just feel guilty. I mean, rightfully so. He should.
Yeah. And we were getting tired of it.
Yeah, and I was just sick of it. And so I think I saw him and he saw me, and, you know, because I had to walk through the bathroom, through the kitchen to see into the living room. He saw that I saw him, and then he got up, tried to follow me, and tried to talk to me. And I said, I don't want to talk to you, which is like terrifying for me because I would never have thought ever to say anything like that to my dad, because I mean it never occurred to me to talk to my dad like that before, like ever.
Yeah, we lost respect by then, which I kind of cover in the episode 4, but like it wasn't that we didn't love him, or certainly it was just that, you know, disappointment after disappointment. I mean, it's just like, you know, and empty words at that point,
right? And I knew he felt extra guilty because like I got away with like talking to him like that, and then slammed the bathroom door in his face, and I was like, I'm gonna take a shower. You know, I hear Mom, you know, yelling, basically, and it sounds like it's coming from the backyard, which my window faced the garage in the backyard. And so I'm like, well, what's going on? Yeah, but it didn't sound like I was used to the noise, like the sounds that my mom would make, or
like terror or something.
Right. Yeah. I was used to whatever abuse went on in the household when we were younger. It was a different kind of like tone. It was just different. And so that's why in my mind, I'm like, why isn't my dad responding to this? Because my dad he wasn't like a little guy, and he wasn't like a meek and mild man, like by any means. So I'm like, well, he would already
talk about the story where he swung us on his arms like that.
Yeah. And so like I get scared. I mean, I get really scared because I know that like there's something going on to where my dad isn't responding to this like cry of help is what it was. You grew up with a bunch of siblings and things are getting crazy, and like sometimes you just want silence. Sometimes you want to be able to hear yourself think and like, or even like appreciate things, other things around you other than like all the other humans making noise around you.
Exactly. Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Self-reflection is amazing, and I also enjoy that. Lucas probably has a lot of chaos right now too, because he's got, I already told them in the last one me and Abby did, but he's got twins.
I do. I have 2 beautiful baby girls that just turned 1, and Juniper and Lavender, and
they're really cute.
And I mean, they're rambunctious, but I mean, they're sweet, and you know, love them so much. But
yeah, so he's got a full house right now, so that can be a little. So I understand the therapy time.
But on top of that, I mean, like they're my youngest, and then I have a 16-year-old, a 10-year-old, and 2 stepchildren, which are mine. You know,
he's us all over again.
Yeah, depression, PTSD, stuff like that, which I'll segue back into what we were talking about.
Right. Yeah.
In the backyard, and so I'm not even dried off yet. Hear my mom yelling out, throw clothes on, run out to the backyard. That, you know, I run out to the backyard, towards the garage, see the door wide open, and the scene I walked in on is like something that you wouldn't even see like in maybe Braveheart, and William Wallace is just a kid and it's his dad, and the village was like totally taken over, and all the people were like hung in it, and you see his eyes and he takes it all in, and he can't understand like what he's seeing. That's how I felt. That's why I walked in on, and she was trying to get this 210-pound, 215-pound man off a rope, and he was sitting down. Like, I mean, I don't know exactly how he got into that position, if the rope slipped after he, you know, did what he did, or if he did that intentionally and decided that he just wasn't going to stand up. I've pondered on it when I was younger, but at this point, like, it doesn't really matter.
When I talk about it in the burial, basically, like, my interpretation of, because he was on his knees sitting, and my mom thought he was messing around. That's how like strange it was, how his positioning. But like I mentioned that he could have stood up. It was like just tight enough where at that length.
Yeah.
It was like.
No, he could have stood up. Yeah. Cody wasn't even there, but Travis was there. Hannah was there. Abby was there. Cody was staying at a friend's house.
Stan.
Yeah. And so I just went back in with the other kids, and just sat there and, you know, was wondering what was going on, or seeing, you know, the paramedics, the fire trucks, EMS.
Called the police at some point and came inside.
Yeah, it felt like it took forever for them to get there. And I think it did, which is absurd because we lived like...
And this was early.
Right down the street from a fire department.
Ish, maybe 7. I don't know. It was ridiculous because I had to wait on Heather's husband at the time so he could get donuts or some stupid shit.
Oh yeah, I remember that too. Yeah, but yeah, all I remember is going back inside after seeing what I saw. Yeah, just trying to like peek out windows and like get what information that we could, you know, out of the situation that was happening. It happened that once they showed up, it happened so fast because it felt like they like showed up there.
Plus, you weren't just probably hearing the story from from mom to the cops, I would imagine. Did she sit down and tell you what happened?
No.
Yeah, I said that. I said, I don't think that they were properly told. I think that Lukas was told his dad was dead, like screamed at that his dad was dead. And then he heard all the, like, how by her talking to the cops.
No, that's exactly what happened.
Did you bring her the phone?
Got there.
See, I'm wondering, like, did she say, like, get me the phone?
You know what? That's a good question.
Because I feel like it was something like, your dad's dead, I gotta call the police, get the phone, or whatever. It was like all very, the pizza. It was all very chaotic for Lukas, which is why he was so traumatized.
As far as like who called 911, I really don't remember. I don't remember if she like came back into the house and called 911. I think she did because somehow she got him off the rope, and he fell back because he was unconscious and smacked his head on the concrete, and so she knew that, you know. Anyways, but after that happened, and everything's like kind of like a whirlwind. The same day, you know, funeral arrangements are being made. My mom's going out and driving. I'm pretty sure she got into a car accident.
I talked about that. She was with Heather.
And then, you know, cops show up to the scene and stuff like that. And she tells the cops, hey, my husband just died. Says, you know, her whole story of what happened that morning. The cops don't believe her. They're like, oh, yeah, okay, lady. I think that when you get a bad combination going on, I think few people, multiple people, a group of people can all drive each other into madness is what I believe. So
that's the name of my first episode, Prelude to Madness. Yeah. I came up with that one myself. That's not a song title. Pretty clever.
People who are driven into madness are, you know,
it's a therapy session. So doing this,
it can be. I don't want to say like a weakness, but what it is it's a hole, right? That hasn't been filled, and it gets ripped out of you. Yeah. Then that's where like the real madness comes from, and that goes into, you know, my dad leaving, even with all of his flaws and stuff like that. I still felt in a weird way like secure.
Because it was routine, like because it happened so often, and when he was so young, it started. So it was all he knew.
Yeah, it was all I knew, but like, I knew the bad parts of my dad, but then I also knew like. But he was also always the strong parts of my dad.
Gonna come home. He wasn't.
Eventually, yeah.
And I talk about how you really looked up to your dad.
Taught me baseball, like. I mean, he was football.
Like he was a good dad. Like when he was a good dad, so Lukas really looked up to his dad. You know, being the older one. You know. Even, you know, if his dad was being unreasonable, he still found, you know, the good in him because he was a child.
When you're younger, you look past a lot of things, right? You know, because it's just the normal. That's the norm. Like, nothing's ever been different. And so then, you know, the things that are bad, that you label bad, like when you get older, it's just how it was. And so, like, then you do look for the good things.
When you have children, then you realize, oh my God, I'm fucked up.
And that's a double-edged sword, because when you have children, you realize like the things that you don't want to be, but then you realize the things that like you may be like repeating too.
Right, and I even talk about that from in ep02 when I'm talking about how my dad like made it where it was hard for me to show my children love. I loved them. He didn't. I don't really think he loved me. I would never hurt them. But it's like this fucked up part of me, which I didn't realize I had until I had children. So it's like, it fucks you up, but yeah, you want to be better than that, right? You always, because you don't want, that's one nice thing about my siblings and myself, is that, you know, we're mindful of how we were treated, and we make sure we don't do that to our children, as far as I know.
I find myself being like overcritical, like my mom, or, you know. And
mom is not nurturing.
No, she's a very critical person. Like, nothing's ever right. It's never done right. And if it was done right, she'll find a way for it to not be right. You know what I mean?
She'll talk about a time she did it better.
Yeah. That's not saying I don't love my mother. I love my mom.
Exactly.
But like,
you can recognize her character.
There's good things to pull from that. You know, like that
makes sense.
Right. Yeah. Being being over criticized as a child makes you feel like you're not ever doing enough or not doing it the right way, or
which is surprising because Mom had a totally different childhood than that. She had a grand childhood.
Right. She didn't go to her own parenting style that she ended up, developing. She went straight to like, oh, how was Mom and Dad, my grandparents, and then like use that like,
That's a result of a spoiled child, though. Like,
right, exactly.
They tend to... She was overly spoiled and made big deals about little situations. She didn't even know what it was to be abused.
I think that she thinks that her parents were the best at everything. And so it's like a little bit of like not even having like a clear identity, which makes sense on why she would get with somebody like Dad, be like, oh, who am I? I'm glad that she did because like I'm here, Amy's here, but like... different, right, exactly, different dad, whatever, but like
we're not
still
all here.
It's not like morphing into like where whatever the new flavor is like of the week and stuff like that.
I don't know. I really don't know the parenting style, why that went. She's just self-centered in that aspect where she's always like with the dating, she was just always thinking about going on this date or whatever, but she wasn't really thinking about how it was affecting us, shoving us off at a babysitter right after the divorce and then making us go to our dads and stuff. Like, we didn't even know this man. So it was very self-centered in that way. Still love your mom, but I don't know where that trait comes from and why, like, as a parent, it's hard for me to understand that. From
what Mom told me, that Dad used to tell her that, oh, we're from the different sides of the tracks, like literally from different sides of the tracks. Like,
his dad grew up in the city.
My dad grew up on one side of the town,
city,
on the west part, and literally dividing it are railroad tracks, and she grew up on the east part of it, which was more country and just like the slow
Pleasantville
kind of life, slower kind of life, where you could like walk through a field and look at butterflies and let the sun,
it was
like
rainbows
just
and butterflies,
hit your face and climb a tree and eat an apple and shit like that, which
he used to tell us the stories. When we were kids, they were very open. That's how I got a lot of my information, is just them being open. Like, they were just open parents that just like shared information, especially my mom when all this stuff was happening, because I was like 16, 17 and I was like her confidant. We'd go talk about it at the laundromat, what was going on,
I spent lots of days at the laundromat. And going back to, getting back on track of what we're talking about, like, it was a really weird sensation, like, knowing that my dad had just died, being pronounced dead, because there was a sense of relief, but then a sense of dread too, because my dad was also the one that, like, even though he had a drug problem and all that stuff, I felt like he was the one that had like the ambition and direction. Like, he was the one that wanted to go on the family trips. He was the one that wanted to take us on.
He took us
hiking. Great America.
That was our last trip. Leon took just us, and he took Carissa.
Yeah, I remember
Carissa
that.
went, and Tony.
Yeah.
And did Heather go? No, Heather wasn't there. She must have been working. So it was like the last trip we went on, and Mom couldn't go because she had to stay home with Hannah. So Hannah, because she ate her poop and smeared it on the wall. That's a story.
Yeah, and got sick. She got like some kind of like weird like bacteria thing. I remember that.
It's disgusting. So we went just with your dad, and it was so much fun. It was the boys, the three younger boys, Tony and me, and Carissa. Remember that?
Cody didn't go. He couldn't go.
Cody went.
Did he?
Yeah. There's pictures of him home like the little alien.
Oh, yeah.
He was the youngest at the time, but like... we had Carissa
Thanks.
in place of Heather. I talked him into it so that everybody would have a kid, because we used to do that where we were assigned a kid, and nobody ever wanted Travis. Come on, guys.
Nobody does that anymore. Like with either a big family or just like a big like circle of people, like where the older ones like are like semi-responsible for the younger kids.
It was always like that.
I feel like that's a very healthy thing to do.
You have to, that way, because it's like Home Alone, right? Where Kevin gets left behind. Like, you gotta have somebody in charge. Like, where's your sock buddy? Like,
oh, well, I was just saying, like, how you brought up before, like, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of thing. I mean, that's a perfect example of it, because I think that Dad really wanted us to have like these experiences. Mm-hmm. I think that was his dream.
Yeah, he did. He took us. We went to Indiana Beach too, and Mammoth Cave.
Mammoth Cave.
That was a good time.
She always just seemed really annoyed by family trips
always,
or anything like that.
Here's the thing, Mom. love you. I mean, I do, but like, you're always like a downer. You're always like, this, pebble in the shoe acting. Like, be more.
Well, she got that from Grandma a little bit.
Yeah, she's kind of. They call me Complaining Amy. Apparently, Heather and Andy. Don't want to hear my nicknames for you guys, but
Complaining Amy.
I'm not complaining. When do I complain? You're the one complaining all the time, Heather. But Heather's like.
I don't even want to know my nickname.
Lucas Mucus.
I don't even have that much mucus.
Lucas Pucus.
Yeah.
Lukey Dookie, that's what.
That makes more sense.
What does Trey call you? Poopy. Pookie.
Pookie.
How did we get there? It's Mr. Pookie.
The first time he called me Pookie, I was like, I used to have a friend that would call me Pookie. It's endearing. With my dad's death, the burial, I'll touch on before that. Even more so.
So do you want to give a little sneak peek into the next episode, which is episode 5 after the burial? This is our Southside episode, which there's so much that happens in this time.
It's life after Dad.
Yeah.
And
I said, and everything went to shit.
And this is to my point, to where like a lot of like what happens after my dad dies, like even with all of his bullshit that we had to deal with, would never have happened if he was alive. Like,
and that's kind of how I ended the last one on, saying like, so this happened, and this is not exactly the climax. I mean, it's the climax. It's like when everything after this like affects everything that comes, but there's a lot to cover, so it might be a 2-hour episode.
Yeah, because a lot of it has to deal with grief, and grieving, and how people grieve differently, and our mother, grieving and kind of being like totally gone.
I mean, she found like this is important to note. We make jokes about our mom and everything, but like, I mean, she was always kind of like the way she was anyway, like 80s rock and mom, but she naive and just kind of fun. It's always been fun and laid back, usually, but more so than my father. But she kind of like with finding her husband dead, and then and then thinking he wasn't, and not that fucked her up too.
Like having that many kids and then having your partner gone, even though he was gone all the time anyways. Then she had even less time to like for self-care and
she even like said this to me. I was 17 at this time when I went there to live. Said to me, I don't even like kids. Leon did, she says. Great. Fantastic. So I just want to do a little commentary, give you guys a little sneak peek on the next episode I'm going to do, which is after the burial, episode 5, which Lucas is very prominent in for the next episode, because it's going to be a good one.
It's going to be a good one, and it's going to be, like I said, life after Dad, and like even though he wasn't there, lots of times he wasn't there at all. Yeah. So imagine what happens with teenagers with free range. Oh man. So stay tuned for that.
And any of the other siblings that are watching, because I know you guys are, if you're watching it, take notes, like episode 1, and watch it and take notes on stuff you want to comment on, and then when you come on here we can talk about that and you get your side of the story out, because that's really what I would love to do, is get like just a full story, so it's like more rounded. We're just hearing my perspective just because I started it, but like, we've been wanting to do this, guys, so this is the best way to do it.
So many different perspectives. Some of the siblings were, living in different houses and would visit, and,
Pizza
they have their own story of their lives, like when they weren't a part of mine, and I have my own story of my life when they weren't a part of mine. And there's connections that can be made, I think, in a more...
Watching the episodes up into when they start getting involved, which is about episode 4 is when everybody started getting involved. Abby after episode 3, but so like now there'll be more engagement. Now they have the bare bones of the story, so now it's going to be more engaging to see Lucas talk, or like these characters from the story, which is engaging people. So it's a real story.
Exciting.
I'm excited too. It's good things. People like it. People like this.
Yep. See you then.
Bye. Let's get the flock out of here.